A young perspective on hot-button issues around the world. This is The Hub.
Hello and welcome to this special edition of The Hub on CGTN, celebrating the Chinese Lunar New Year, the Year of the Horse. I'm Wang Guan in Beijing. 2026 marks the Year of the Horse, a symbol in Chinese culture of movement, vitality, and aspiration. From horse-themed cultural products to spring festival celebrations around the world, and from bustling urban soundscapes to immersive digital experiences, the Lunar New Year is being reimagined in exciting ways. So how is horse culture shaping Spring Festival? How are tradition and creativity coming together in these celebrations? And how is the Lunar New Year serving as a bridge for cross-cultural exchanges, fostering understanding both at home and abroad? To talk about all these questions, we're joined at this hour by our distinguished guests, Dr. Harvey Zodin from Vienna. He's a senior fellow of the Center for China and Globalization and former VP of ABC TV. We also have Colin Ginnery, co-founder of the Sound Art Museum here in Beijing, and Professor Li Hua, Associate Professor of Creative Writing of the English Department at Renmin University in China. Welcome, Professor Li. Good to see you.
To see you.
I took a look at your background. You teach creative writing,
Yes.
which is one of my favorite subjects back
Really?
in school. Back in my undergrad days.
Cool.
You teach singing,
Singing
and
voice,
you teach
yes.
dancing as well.
I teach acting, actually. Acting.
How did that happen?
Well, I studied creative writing at the University of Southern California, and I also studied acting, and I love singing, and I find that all of those subjects, they have the core in common. They're ways of expressing yourself, and they all embody this free spirit.
Yeah.
So I love to do them all.
Talking about free spirit, we're celebrating the Year of the Horse.
Yes.
How would you teach your students, your foreign students, international cohort about the Year of the Horse? What does the horse signify in our Chinese culture?
Well, I think to me the horse signifies this, like I said, the free spirit and also beauty, strength, and perseverance.
Now, Harvey, let me go to you in Vienna, Austria. I think the Chinese community, the Chinese diaspora are very actively celebrating the Year of the Horse, but as an expat who lived in China for the longest time and now back in Vienna, what does the Year of the Horse signify to you? What do you hope to happen in the Year of the Horse?
Well, to me, it signifies energy, it signifies success, it signifies a long tradition of Chinese animals representing various characteristics that go way back in history, like to the Warring States period. And it also signifies that more and more people are getting to know about Chinese culture. And as a popular trend on TikTok will tell you, that more and more foreigners are becoming Chinese.
Out of all the things, the great things, the beauties that a horse represent in the Chinese culture, in many ways that is identical with the cultures in the West as well, in the rest of the world. What is the single most important trait do you think the horse represents?
To me, it's strength and energy, and also to some extent longevity. The horse is an animal that people have depended on for thousands of years, and so it's very central to culture.
Very well. Colin, you're running a very important art project, the Sound Museum in Beijing. I haven't been there for a while. Hopefully you'll get me there sooner rather than later. But what is the atmosphere like right now in the Sound Museum? Is it getting festive with decorations, elements of horse everywhere?
Well, to be honest, we have lots of students here and lots of school trips coming here. But we're actually winding down because, as you know, we have a Chinese diaspora inside China where everybody goes back to their own ancestral homeland. And that's the same for our team, and it's the same for so during Chinese New Year, I think like the most essential museums in China, like the palace, the Gugong, Forbidden City, the Palace Museum. That will remain open. I think they'll have many people from all over China visiting there. But for us, as a much smaller and private museum, I think it's time for us to wind down and get ready for the Chinese New Year holidays. But we have projects, New Year projects, outside of our museum. For example, we're working on a project in Shanghai. So that's where we're sending our sound, our New Year's sounds. We're sending them to Shanghai.
Very good. Now, you lived and worked across the Western world as well as China. How would you explain the Year of the Horse to your friends in the West?
I think people are really interested in how these things impact them. If you frame everything around Chinese culture, I think people who are already interested in Chinese culture will be very open to that. But for people who don't know anything about Chinese culture, if you preach to them, how important Chinese culture is, I think that's probably not going to be the best way to get them interested. So you would say how the Chinese horoscope impacts our lives, impacts your lives. If you combine it with the Western horoscope, what that means for you. And I think many people will be very interested in how these horoscope things affect their own lives, especially younger people. So I don't think we're trying to become super or trying to promote superstition, but I think it's fun. I think it's a fun way of connecting, because that's what horoscopes are. They're a part of life, and they're part of tradition, and they're a part of a belief system, and I think these belief systems have effects on our own lives.
Right, Professor Lee, talking about Chinese animals, we have at least 12 of them.
Yes.
And we picked 12 out of all the animals to represent the lunar calendar. For example, I'm a rat, which means something here in China, being witty and smart, maybe sometimes too smart for our own good. But in the West, rat means something else, right? If you rat a person, if you rat the organization, in the judicial system, it can mean something totally different.
Right,
Or the dragon, right? Or the loon, will be increasingly called here in China, because we think that loon, the Chinese dragon, and the dragon in the Western sense are two different things. How do you cope with these different cultural contexts when you talk to your students or interact with your counterparts in the West?
Well, I think I try to find the common grounds, I understand we have differences, but we can always find something in common, that we can say a rat, of course, is witty, and you can see the witty aspects of the rat, right? But when it comes to the Year of the Horse, I'm very glad. I think all of us have very positive opinions on this wonderful creature. It has universal appeal, as we have heard from the other guests. But I understand when you're talking about something that might cause some controversy, right? Like snake, for example, right?
Snake, exactly, right? That means different things. I mean, in the Arab world, in the Chinese culture, Confucian world, in the Western world.
Yeah. So, but I think that it's okay that we have the differences. We don't have to force everybody to say, "Hey, snake is wonderful." Yeah. So, but I'm really particularly happy.
I mean, if you think about the astrologies, a lot of astrologies are made up, right? What is a Capricorn? Or what is a Taurus? A Taurus is an ox, I guess, the Chinese ox. But what is Sagittarius, right? Someone who shoots.
Yeah, I was born under that.
You're a Sagittarius?
Yes.
Free-spirited.
Yeah, free-spirited.
I respect that. I like that. What is a Sagittarius, or what is the Iris? Iris is a sheep, I guess, according to the Chinese zodiac.
Yes.
So we have some similarities, but also differences.
Yes, we do. Yes, but for me, I always try to find the common grounds, and I feel like that's the beauty of it, And actually, a few years ago, I was working in Costa Rica. I was working as a Chinese director of the Confucius Institute at the University of Costa Rica.
Very nice.
So I remember in 2018, that's the first year when I was working there, I went to a local kindergarten, and we taught those 4 little kids. I told them a story about the little horse crossing a river. you know, 小马过河, right? And just so happened those kids were born in the year of the horse.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I told them, hey, you know, we could all be like this little horse crossing the river bravely because you were born in the year of the horse. You were meant to be a brave little horse. And they just loved the story. And they felt like they were that little horse. And now 8 years have gone by. I think they're now 12 years old. I hope they still remember the story. And I hope they're probably galloping freely and joyfully now.
Galloping into the year of the horse.
Yeah.
Harvey, you've heard our conversation. I mean, some animals abode well in the Chinese culture, but they don't necessarily so in the West. For example, dragon or the loon, snake or the she, rat or the shu. I mean, what do you think?
Well, I just wrote a book, and the title has the word dragon in it. And dragons are very misunderstood in the West, and it takes some education to understand how important that is in Chinese culture, and that it's not what people in the West think. So we have different ways of looking at the world. But now that China is becoming more powerful, more out there, more immersed in the popular culture globally, we're getting to know each other better. And so these symbols are becoming more universal, I would say, and also that we can learn from each other, which is exactly what we should be doing in our very conflicted and challenged world.
Yeah, I mean, but what aspects of the Chinese culture, I mean, for example, the year of the horse, what do all this mean to the Austrians, to people in Western Europe, to at least, I mean, the German-speaking part of Western Europe where you are?
Well, I think we're still learning. I think there's still an educational job that needs to be done. But we do have a small Chinese diaspora here, and slowly, hoofbeat by hoofbeat, people are being educated in Chinese schools and Confucius institutes, in Chinese restaurants. And so I think it's a work in progress. But I think it's a work in progress because China has matured so much in the minds of many people. We used to think of China as this abjectly poor, backward country because of its century of humiliation. But now, as we've seen, China is the leading economy and it's the leader in the world. So I think people are becoming much more cognizant of China and Chinese culture. Chinese culture, of course, has been around for thousands of years, but a lot of Westerners still don't know that. So with the zodiac, with the horse year and some other years like I'm a pig, a lucky pig, actually, and my appetite matches it. People can learn more about these symbols and what they mean, and so we're becoming a globalized world. And part of Chinese culture is now accepted into that globalized world. It's not just some exotic thing or something separate apart in a small community, but it's achieved universality, I would say.
Now, Colin, how do you find, different cultural symbols representing different things, in different cultures, having different cultural connotations?
Well, I'm also, like Harvey, I'm also a pig. So, I'm also a lucky pig. I'm also what you call a gold pig. 金猪.
I'm 1 year shy of being a pig, so.
So at least I'm a golden pig. It makes it sound better. I think if you say the word, it's interesting because you use the word rat for 鼠, but it could also be mouse. Now, rat
that sounds
has
slightly better,
many
right?
negative
Mouse.
Connotations, but the word mouse or the animal mouse has far less negative connotation. If you describe someone as mousy, it means that they're shy and probably quite nice. So even just one animal, just turned around, if you use a slightly different word, because rat and mouse, interestingly enough, in English is two different animals, but in the Chinese language is not. There's one word for both animals. They're two distinct animals, the mouse and the rat. And in China, they're both 鼠 or 耗子. And you don't like 大耗子,小耗子, the big mouse or the big rat, the small rat. You don't know which one you're talking about. So it's really interesting the way language works. And you just twist the language a tiny little bit and it turns into something very, very different. As Professor Lee was saying, like, horse is absolutely a positive symbol. But pig and mouse, maybe you can use the word mouse. You're the rat mouse. Or rat is more complicated, but complicated is good. I think complicated is good because it makes us think, and without thinking, then there's no way of connecting ideas. You have to actually think about things in order to connect with other people.
The year of the loon or the dragon a couple of years ago. I remember back in the day, there has been a Chinese cultural awareness saying that we should call it the year of the loon instead, 龙年, instead of the year of the dragon, because dragon means totally different things. If you look at Time magazine or The Economist, whenever they depict China in a certain way, and being an aggressive power, flexing this military muscle. They have this fire ejecting dragon, whereas long in China can mean auspicious, longevity, a totally different thing. But back to the year of the loon or the year of the dragon, how big a deal do you think it was when it comes to the necessity to bridge this gap of understanding?
I think it depends, like if we are living in an environment, people are really open and friendly toward each other. We can talk about the differences and communicate, and it's just, it's good, But if this environment is somewhat hostile, then, I think that if we argue more, then that will probably cause more problems.
But dragon, in and of itself, does have more negative connotations taken for what it is in the English language, right? Professor Lee, you teach creative writing, so tell me all about it.
What?
Dragon.
A dragon, like in the English language? Well, like in the Bible, it does talk about the dragon in the book of Revelations, the dragon and so forth. Yeah. But anyway, let's not get too complicated about that issues. I think, but I think in China, people who were born in the year of the dragon were very proud of that.
Yeah.
All the parents want to have a baby born in the year of the dragon. Yeah.
Of course.
So,
龙腾虎跃.
no matter what other people say about dragon, we feel pretty good about it.
Harvey, what do you think? If you think about the year of the dragon, I know we're talking about the year of the horse, but the year of the dragon a couple of years ago was such a big deal. The animal means such different things across different cultures. How do you find these differences?
I find that they often divide us, but they, with knowledge, should be uniting us more. And so the people don't know in the West about the dragons and their heritage, the fact that they were a symbol of imperial authority, that they really are a very positive animal. In the West, we think of dragons purely in negative terms. But I think now that we've had more contact between our cultures, that people are learning and are knowing each other. I think that's a great thing. We have to stop demonizing each other as enemy or them or those people. We need to understand our common humanity. And the way we understand our common humanity is through the symbols that each side uses, and that pretty soon there aren't going to be each side. There's just going to be a human race that hopefully in the near future will get along well with each other and will be celebrating each other, as we now in many parts of the world celebrate a Chinese New Year through parades and things. And it's no longer an ethnic thing for some small or large subset of the population. It's a universal thing in which everybody partakes. Dragons are a part of that. Horses are a part of that. I think it's a wonderful direction to be moving in.
Eventually, we will all get along. I mean, that is the ultimate wish. Now, Colin, so how do you think China or the Chinese cultural institutions should take advantage of the Year of the Horse? and have more, horse-themed products. Because if you think about Labubu, which is ugly cute animal that is so popular around the world, nobody thought that it would have such a big impact around the world, in Rome, in Brussels, in Paris. And now, what should we do about the Year of the Horse when it comes to, really making it a brand, a global cultural brand?
Well, horses are global, so I think it's what people are interested or might be interested in is what's China's unique take on the horse that differentiates it from the West or the Middle East or the nomadic peoples. And I think for China, the horse is a really interesting animal because of its history and the relationship between the Chinese people and the nomadic peoples over the centuries. And now, of course, we have Inner Mongolia and many, people who live with horses as part of their everyday lives, like Inner Mongolia. So horses are very, very complex animal for symbolism in China, and that is actually quite different from that of Western countries. So I think that's a really interesting way of what is a horse to Chinese people as opposed to horses to Western people, because it's such a universal animal. I think a pig is pretty similar, is less contentious. I think for the West and for China, apart from symbolism of being lucky, but the other connotations are pretty similar. But I think the horse is more nuanced and more complex. And the way to do it for me, because I come from, I run a cultural institution in Beijing, but I've been working in culture for a couple of decades, or more actually, three decades, yeah, is really to give artists and musicians and other people who are dealing with this symbolism really free rein, pun intended. So free rein to do whatever comes to their mind in creating really interesting ways of conveying the idea of the horse. And only by doing that can you have all kinds of different interpretations. And one of those, or a few of those, will find resonance across cultures. There's no way of designing by committee. I'm saying, okay, we're going to bring together a committee of experts and they're going to tell us what the meaning of the horse is, and then we're going to then tell the people of the world this is what the horse is. That's not going to work. What you do is in culture, and the way that culture works, has always worked, is that artists just come up with things. They have a free imagination, and if they're free to create, then they'll express from the soul, from the heart. And only when that is really done well, something that is expressed from the inside and done very purely, only that can connect with other people from other cultures who can feel that purity of vision. And then that has a way of connecting people. And I think that's the magic of culture. And that's the magic of music and the arts and all these different cultural modes of expression, is that if it's done through that pure vision of an artist who is given, the freedom to create, then that sometimes can last for centuries or even over thousands of years. So that's, for me, that's the way to do it.
Fantastic conversation. We have time for one last round of question. Can I invite each and every one of you to say some Year of the Horse wishes? A better bilingual and with the word horse in it. Why don't I start with you, Colin?
The Chinese proverb that I want to use to wish everyone a happy Year of the Horse is 马到成功, which means success arrives as swiftly and decisively.
Okay, Harvey, the master, now is your turn.
新年快乐, Happy New Year. What I want to say, I now know the reason that you chose me to be on this wonderful show. And it has to do with another horse saying, and that is, an old horse knows the way. And I guess you could say the meaning's self-explanatory. Can't you conjure up in your mind's eye a trusty old horse that knows the way forward based on past experience over many years of traveling the same road in different weather and different seasons. Maybe I know a little bit of that. So thank you very much for having me.
Professor Lee,
Yes.
what about you?
Well, I think of 以梦为马，不负韶华. So let your dream be your horse and lead a creative and prosperous life in the year of the horse.
So romantic. You've got to get me your book, please.
Definitely, I brought.
Okay, with that, we come to the end of this edition of The Hub on CGTN. I want to give a special thanks to our commentators and panelists, Professor Lee from Birmingham University. Also, special thanks to Colin and Harvey for their participation. And that will do it. Thank you for tuning in.
You've been listening to programs from CGTN Radio.
CGTN Radio.
We invite you to visit us online for more audio, pictures, and in-depth reports. At radio.cgtn.com, you can access a wide range of programs and find your favorite news, talk, features, entertainment shows, and podcasts. Hear the difference with CGTN Radio.